Hello, and welcome to Life with Francie podcast, a place where you will find all type of conversation like mental health, self-love, self-care, trauma, hobbies, and more. With this podcast, I want to create a community where we support one another in personal and business life. Hope you enjoy this episode. Now, let's get this show started. On today's episode, it's going to be a little bit different. I'm finally going to have like a business coach, so I'm excited for that. And we're gonna welcome a Mary. He has a help service based business owner, coaches, and consultants that systemize, digitalize, and I can't say that word. Their knowledge, wisdom, and skills into scalable, profitable online business and brand. So they become an authority in their niche or industry. So I hope she can explain it a lot better than I can. Excuse my second language. Anyways, we're gonna do this. So hello, Mary. How you doing? What is life with
Oh,
you?
Francie, you crack me up. Thank you for having me. And you did perfectly well. You did excellent. But what's happening with me? Well, first of all, I'm one day ahead of you. Okay, that's first. Let's get that out of the way. I'm in Australia, in Melbourne, and it's my Sunday morning. And I couldn't think of anything better that I want to do than have a conversation with you. So thank you for having me.
That's awesome. Thank you. Tell us. You told me a little bit before that you're in Australia. That's just
Yeah.
awesome. What is life in Australia right now?
Oh my God. Well, we're moving into our autumn, and so which is, getting colder. We're just finishing summer. And I think that, what I love about, our life on earth is that we all get interconnected, and this for me is just where there's no barriers, you being in the US, me being in Australia, but nothing can divide us because we've got Zoom that brings us all together, honestly. So I feel like, I have this international, network that is just, I'm just constantly interconnected. It's like a web, you're always, wherever you go, there's always somebody, that, I've got friends in Estonia. I've got, friends in the US, Canada, UK, Jamaica, like literally all over the world, all because we're interconnected with this thing called the internet, which I just think is just so awesome.
It is. Sometimes social media could be so exhausting and everything, but
Yeah.
at the same time be so amazing to connect you with other peoples in other country. I love this.
Well, I do, because the thing is that in the business that I'm in, I work with typically industry experts who could be coaches, consultants, authors, people transitioning out of their senior corporate roles, and I help them, as you said before, systemize, digitalize, and commercialize their knowledge, their wisdom, and their skill set into a brand and also a business. And on top of that, most of these people are creating online environments as well. So they're designing their own online program, that commands that one-to-many model, which means that business runs fully online. And would you believe, Francie, that I have clients all over the world, really, really high level clients, people that are coming out of C-suite roles from Fortune 500 companies. And my business is 100% over Zoom. I do zero face-to-face, Francie, nothing, no, none. I've got clients in Saudi Arabia. I've got clients, as I said, in the US. I've got clients in the UK, Germany, Slovenia, Paris, you name it. And all my business is run online. This is the power of the internet.
Hmm. Yeah, and how did your mission start? How did your business started?
I have a very interesting story because, and I think that everyone that is in their true vocation always has an interesting story. It truly is the hero's journey, which I still believe I'm on. Nothing, I'm not at the end of that journey. Literally, I feel like I'm just beginning my journey, even though I've got 22 years to back me. But I did come from the corporate sector, from the technology industry. I worked my way up the ranks, if you will, very, very quickly. And, I came face to face with personal branding back in year 2000, when I really understood the power of understanding how to solve a complex problem, and making sure that you were able to create noise around that. In other words, I wanted others, IT vendors to know that I'm the person that can solve complex problems. And I did that very, very well. And it was all very strategic and very deliberate. And because I was on that mission, I was very consciously aware of what I was doing. I created a brand around myself, which commanded my own demand. So I had all these job offers coming left, right, and center, international job offers. I eventually accepted a role with a tech company based out in California. I was VP of sales. I spent a lot of time in LA, and and from there, that also led me to understand the power of personal branding and how to position yourself as that go-to person, which I didn't realize back then what I know now, if that makes sense. So in 2005, I started my own business. That was when I started my entrepreneurial journey. And I did my first startup, which was designing laptop bags and peripherals, very fashion forward. I got a contract with Australia's largest retailer, and started my production with a factory in China. And that was a great experience. And unfortunately, that contract ended. And then I moved into my second startup, which was starting a software company. And therein is where I learned this whole passion, if you will, for understanding how to develop software that's user-centric. So my company built membership systems for the academic sector only. And so this is what we would now call online programs, but back then they were really membership systems for the students in these large academic institutions. And we didn't have, cloud services back then. We had to build everything, from ground up. And we had cognitive scientists that worked in my business because we were so focused on how to design software that matches the way a human being wants to experience the software. So it was like reverse engineering the solution. And so I learned a lot about frameworking. I learned a lot about how to create software that fulfills the vision of the user. And it's a very different way of, experiencing, online programs, which is what we develop in, today for our clients, because you've got to have that in mind. So after that, which I had that business for 7 years, and it was a multi-7-figure business. I had an infrastructure, big team, etc. On September the 8th, 2011, I gave birth to my second son. And 3 hours after he was born, I had just a life-altering moment. I leaned over to get my lip balm. My business card fell out on the bed. I grabbed that business card to put it back into my purse. But actually something completely different happened. And I started to just have this conscious, very high conscious awareness of my whole life being a series of labels. And I recognized in that moment that my business card was actually defining how I show up and how I fit in to society. And that was a huge awakening. But also I had to own up to one important truth. And that is that I actually had to own up the core truth of why I started all of those businesses is because I was looking for validation from my parents still as an adult. So I was a child in an adult's body, and I didn't realize that until that moment. 2 weeks after that, I resigned from my own company that I built. And my accountant said to me, you just can't walk away from a 7-figure business. Like, that's just ridiculous. And I just said to him, I've got to go. I cannot be here. I just cannot. I must leave. And so we merged my business, thankfully, with another company, with another agency. And January 1st, 2012 was the first time in my adult life that I never had a job. Like, that was the first time. And so I spent that 12-month sabbatical. I had the most amazing mentors in my life. I had a professor in philosophy. I had an emotional body expert. I had a quantum physicist. I really wanted to dive deep in at a nano level. Who am I? What is my purpose? What am I doing here? But I had to also do something very radical, and that was cut myself off from the outside world. And I mean, quite literally, like, I gave up credit cards. I gave up social circles, friends. I mean, everything that you could imagine that equaled my false self. I just cut the cord. And I just found myself with myself. And one of the things that I did, Francie, which was really, really moving, was I just sat in front of the mirror. We had a full length mirror, and I just sat with my legs crossed, looking at in my eyes in that mirror, and just the immense emotion that was pouring out of my soul naturally. I wasn't even forcing it was hours. I sat in front of the mirror for, I don't know, 3, maybe 4 hours. I don't know, but it was hours. And just this flood of emotion was just pouring out of my body, because I was looking at the false self, but the true self was coming out. You know what I mean? It was just desperately wanting to come out. And so I think that my journey, has been, like, this is now 23 years, with, accumulating all of my knowledge, my wisdom and skill set. And then in 2000 and in that 12-month sabbatical, my mentors really helped me unpack Mary, like really to a granular level. And at the end of that year, I realized, oh my God, like, my purpose is not outside of me. My purpose lies in between my gifts, my talents, my learned knowledge, my learned skills, my wisdom. Purpose is in that. What am I going to do with all of this internal inventory? Am I just going to throw it away and say, oh, that was just a great memory of my past? Or could I use that inventory and do something with that? And then I realized, yes, I can solve a problem. I can help people systemise, and I can help them digitalize. I can help them commercialize. These are all my skills. I know how to do this with ease and grace. So I went down this path of collecting all of the things that I can do with ease and with grace. That's it. Anything that was hard was out. Anything that I could do with ease was in. And when I looked at my inventory like that, I'm like, oh, wow, okay, I can seriously solve a problem here. And it took me a few years to actually build my system and really get it to, because you have to remember, I am a systems thinker. I come from a tech background. So I didn't want to go out into the world and just create a course and, and just sell it like everyone else is selling it. I didn't want that. I wanted to help very specific people in a very specific transition in their life and give them a solution that is results driven, it's outcome driven, it's based on experience, it's not based on textbook, and also it fulfills their vision. It has to fulfill the client's vision. So, and then in 2015, Francie, I formally launched my coaching business, which is what I still do till this day.
That's amazing. I am so interested in it. So, do you help people on a one-on-one or a group setting? How do you help them out?
I do both, Francie. I have a done with you or a done for you. I don't offer do it yourself. I just think that in today's crowded market, that one thing that I feel where I'm different is that I'm very invested in my clients, like really, really, like passionately care about their success. So in my model doesn't have other coaches that I train that are, a version of Mary. No one can ever be me. No one can ever be Francie. And so what I have is I have a mastermind, which is a 12-month program, and people join that program, but they're with me for 12 months, and I coach twice a week in a group setting. And every Tuesday, we do what I call mind mastery. It's all about energetics. It's really about pushing through the limitations and the beliefs. We do a lot of energy work, because what happens, Francie, is when people, it's easy to start a business. What's hard is understanding how to glue all of the moving parts. What's harder is becoming it. Do you see? There's 3 parts.
Yeah.
Everyone says, I want to become an entrepreneur. Okay, it's easy. Off you go, become an entrepreneur. Gluing all of the moving parts is hard, but becoming it, really hard, right? So I found that was a very important part of my process, is that I want you to become it. I want you to eat it, breathe it, sleep it, feel it. And so I've got a very specific way of doing that. And bring a lot of quantum theory, I guess you could call it, into my work. Till this day, Francie, I have a mentor who's quite deep and wide in that quantum theory space, and he really mentors me a lot. So I have not stopped that mentoring because I am a curious human being, and I'm a critical thinker, and I always want to unpeel another layer off me, always wanted to go down that path. So the group coaching, my mastermind is a group, and it's just amazing. And they're all mature, mostly women. They're all mature, and they're all, transitioning out of senior corporate, or some of them are already coaches, but they're kind of lost. They've lost themselves along the way. So we come together, and it's extremely powerful when you have a group of women who are like each other. They're kind of feeding off each other. They're in the same place. There's no shame. There's no blame. There's no guilt. It's just, it is what it is. And it's just such an amazing group. What I find incredibly special, and everyone says this to me, wow, the tribe you have created is like next level. People finish my mastermind and they come back. They keep rejoining because they want the tribe. It's not necessarily me. I can give the wisdom, I can answer any question, but it's the tribe that really, really is where the magic is. And the other thing that I offer is a done for you, complete done for you, where we basically do everything for you. You just sit back and relax. You just have a call with me once a week so I can give you updates. But my team and I, we create all of your social media posts. We build your website, your online program, your branding, your logos, all of your lead magnets, all of your lead generation strategies. We do it all for you. But those people that engage me for a complete done for you, they typically already have a business that's kind of turning over, in the high multi six figures or even seven figures. They're just not interested in learning anything. But the ones in the mastermind, I empower those women to learn how to do everything. I don't want them to ever need me. I just want people to want to work with me. It's a very different mindset. And so they're the two offerings that I have at this point.
Wow, yeah, I love that, to have that choice, and not a self-coaching, because a lot of people are doing that. And I love the connection, that you want that connection between you and your client.
Yes.
Yeah, so any tips for listeners that are trying to build their brand and things?
Yeah, I do actually, Francine, I'm very passionate about this because there's so much misinformation out there. There's so many coaches teaching other coaches, what to do and what not to do. And I want to say this, I never would push what I think you should do. I don't think that that's right. I think everyone should choose, where they're at and what they need. And we're all smart human beings. I like to empower people. I don't like to belittle people. I don't think that that's the right angle. I don't feel there's any benefit in doing that. I don't like scarcity. I don't like fear-based conversations. It's not me at all. What I will say is that when you have discipline and a system in place, your business, all of those moving parts will actually work for you, not against you. And what I find is a lot of people, they say, I want to start a business. I have to get clients straight away. Okay, that's the first stop. I got to get clients straight away. Hang on a minute. How can you get a client straight away if you haven't actually defined what you do, who you serve, and what you promise? Like, that is so critically important, because how do you create language around it? So it's not just about starting a business. It's understanding with clarity, this is what I do, this is who I serve, this is what I promise. Excellent. The next stage is we have to frame that in language, because my target audience speak in a certain way. I need to speak their language, Francie. I can't speak academic quantum physics language that my mentor gives me, because my clients are going to say, what planet is this woman on? Like, I have no idea what she's saying, but I need to speak in their language. Okay. And once I can connect in and using their words, they're going to connect with me. Right. And so, the personal branding part for all people that want to start a business, I cannot stress how important that is, because a lot of coaches say, oh, you don't need a website, you don't need branding, you don't need any of that. Just get on Facebook, sell your program, and people just sell it on Messenger. That may work for short term, but I'm going to say this. All those guru coaches that were turning over multi six figures and seven figures 10 years ago, 5 years ago, even 3 years ago, that were doing that, they don't exist anymore. Their business is gone. They've They are not in business anymore. Please understand this. I spent $30,000 with 2 coaches circa 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago. Both of those coaches who were genuinely turning over 7 figures a year, I know that for sure, they no longer exist. Why? Because the content that they were pushing was antiquated. They couldn't give the client any more than what Chat GDP can give me. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, all the information that they were giving their clients was all available on Google. Now, the information that you get from me is not on Google, because it's learned experience. It's my wisdom. My wisdom is not available on an AI machine. The AI machine can't get in my heart and my soul. I know the information, and I teach it in a very, very unique way that can't be found on YouTube. So the thing is that why I start off with branding, and this is important, is, believe you me, your prospects are already doing due diligence on you in the background. They're looking for you on your website. They're looking for you on social media. They're looking for you on YouTube. They're looking for you on podcasts. And if they can't find you anywhere, you tell me, Francie, does that equal credibility?
Oh,
No, it does not. Because when you search Mary Henderson on Google, there are 6 pages of Mary Henderson. The first 6 pages are all about me and all the podcast interviews I've been on, all the articles I've done. My website comes up #1. I mean, you know, this is all strategic and deliberate. Like, I don't want people to Google Mary Henderson and they go, who is this person? Like, Francis interviewed this person, but I can't see or find, I don't know anything about her. You go to my website, Mary Henderson Coaching. It's consistent and congruent when you go to LinkedIn, when you go to Facebook, when you go to Instagram, when you go to YouTube, everything looks the same. So you're not feeling like, oh, is this her? Like, is this weird? Like, my photographs are from 10 years ago. She looks a bit different now. I mean, I don't look like my photographs today because I got my hair tied back. But the thing is, you understand that, you know, we have to have that congruency. So personal branding builds the foundation and everything feeds off that. Now, the next part is that we need to define how we organize our knowledge, wisdom, and skills and convert that into a solution. What does that solution look like? And how do we take it from step 1 being my vision, and it ends with the client's mission? Do you see what I'm saying? So my vision, I'm creating a program or a solution or an offer with my vision, but it ends up becoming the client's mission. Do you see what I'm saying? And would you believe that there are 17 moving parts to actually creating that type of experiential online program or offer or solution, whatever you want to call it? It doesn't have to always be an online program, by the way. And this is where people get very confused. Most of my clients do not have an online program. They have a solution, but if they wanted to convert that solution into an online program, they can do it like that. They've already got the foundation that will automatically become an online program. How they deliver their solution doesn't matter. The actual solution never changes. Then we go to part 3, and this is the most important, where most people leave it out. If you have to build digital assets that create ecstatic brand experience, because if your brand and all of your digital assets, in other words, all of the communication touch points that a prospect comes into contact with, if I can't give them an experience, Francie, I've lost them, because I need to be the standout. I want them to watch my masterclass and go, oh my God, I would have paid for that. Like, that is unbelievable, right? And too many people are so fixed on, oh my God, they're going to steal my content. No one can steal my content, Francie. It's not possible, because I have a system in place. And even if someone did steal it, Francie, next week I've versioned it to a new version. So what they've got and they stole is an old version that doesn't fit in society today. So it doesn't matter to me, right? You got to keep moving on and evolving. That's the key here. And then we've got the commercialization. And this is also very important, because so many people have got their eggs in one basket. They're all on Facebook, or they're all on LinkedIn, or whatever. But for me, it's layers. You have to have layers in your lead generation strategy. LinkedIn might be one, Facebook is another, Instagram maybe another, YouTube maybe another, podcasting, whatever. But you've got to have all these layers in your lead generation strategy and know how to use them so that you tap into your audience, so that you don't have to be on every single social media platform. But the question is, where do your audience hang out? And how do you show up in front of them so that they believe that you're omnipresent? Not you want to be omnipresent. I don't want to be in front of 8 billion people. I just want to be in front of the right people at the right time in the right location. So every time they hear me or see me, they're like, Mary's everywhere. I'm not really. It's just that I'm everywhere for them. They see me as everywhere. So they're the 4 critical moving parts. And then, as I said before, and this is overlays all of this, and this is becoming it. And this is where we have to master our mind. We have to master our thoughts. We have to master our emotional state of being, so that so our driver is our true self, not our false self. And so many people fall into this trap. They want to start a business, they go, 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 and then everything falls apart because the false self is the driver, not the true self. And also, one more thing to add to that, Francie, is that when we come from that place of a true self, you have to master that game of patience. And, patience is my core trait. I have mastered patience unlike anyone I know, because I consciously went out to master that. That was a very important thing for me. So my game's a lot slower, but it's a lot more sustainable and scalable, because I see my business being around for the next 20 years. I don't see it as a fly by night, here today, gone tomorrow. I don't believe in that concept, but it does require patience and a lot of discipline. And they're the 2 things that I live by every single day. So hopefully that explains to the listeners that these are the moving parts that are very important in creating a sustainable and a scalable a coaching or a consulting business.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing with us. And yeah, so where can my listeners find you?
Yes, please feel free to book a coaching call with me. I offer a free 45-minute coaching call, maryhendersoncoaching.com/apply, APPLY, or just connect with me on LinkedIn or Facebook at Mary Henderson Coaching, or Instagram, Mary Henderson Coaching, or send me an email, mary@maryhendersoncoaching.com.
Awesome. And I did find you on Podmatch. I always have to make a little note that Podmatch is a great community for podcast hosts and podcast guests to find each other like we found each other. So check out Podmatch as well. All the links and social media will be on the show notes. Yeah, thank you. So anything else that you would like my listeners to know?
That's it, Francie. Just take care of your wisdom. Wisdom is a currency. Do something with it.
I love that. You need to trademark that.
Yeah. Thank you. I know. I think that that's going to be my book. I'm in the mindset of it, but I think it's just it's what I live by, and I talk about it 24/7. So, it's a part of my DNA now. Yeah.
Yeah, I see it. You get excited and everything. You can see that you live your mission. And I love that. Hashtag goals.
Thank you, Francie.
Anyways, thank you so much for coming on the show. I really had a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you, Francie.
Alrighty, well, you know the deal. Thank you so much for listening to another podcast episode. You can find my podcast in every major platform as well as YouTube. Hope you have a blessed day.